Let's talk about the device that's probably in your pocket, or maybe even the one you're watching this on right now. It's at the absolute center of a massive global shift. The invisible connections that build our technology are being completely rewired, and it's creating a brand new map for how the world makes things. Because the story of where your next phone comes from, it's being totally rewritten as we speak.
So, go on, take a look at your phone. Quick question for you. Where was it made? You can usually find it etched somewhere on the back.
You know, for the better part of 2 decades, the answer to that question was almost always the same. It pointed to one single country that became the undisputed factory for the world's most advanced electronics.
But that simple, straightforward answer? Well, it's getting a lot more complicated. A great rewiring is underway, and believe me, it's happening way faster than almost anyone predicted. The story of your next phone is going to be very, very different.
All right, to really get where we're going, we first have to understand the world we're leaving behind. For decades, the entire global tech industry was basically built on a single, incredibly powerful model, with one country right at its core.
Think of it as this deep, symbiotic relationship. You had Apple, totally obsessed with perfection and massive scale, and you had China, with this huge ambition to become a manufacturing superpower. Together, they created something, well, something the world had never seen before. The most complex and efficient production line ever.
Yeah, the book Apple in China by Patrick McGee just nails it with this subtitle. See, it wasn't just about finding cheap labor. Apple became so deeply woven into the Chinese manufacturing fabric that in a way, it was captured by it. It just couldn't function without that unique mix of scale, skill, and incredible speed.
And this right here is the secret sauce. Apple didn't just outsource in the traditional sense. Nope, they integrated. They came up with what we now call the Apple model. They literally put their own engineers right on the factory floors. And this wasn't just for quality control. It completely transformed the entire local supply chain, creating this hub of expertise that for a long time, you just couldn't find anywhere else on the planet.
But then, things started to shift. The world changed. And that very concentration that made the China model so incredibly efficient, well, it also made it really fragile. The cracks started to show, and it forced everyone to rethink the whole thing. It was like a perfect storm, really. 3 huge forces hit all at once. You had geopolitical tensions creating all this uncertainty. Then you had these unpredictable trade tariffs that could wipe out profits overnight. And of course, the big one, a global pandemic that just slammed the brakes on supply chains. All of a sudden, the risk of having all your manufacturing eggs in one basket wasn't just a risk, it was a reality.
And the response from businesses around the world? It was swift and decisive. A Gartner survey found that a whopping 87%, that's almost 9 out of 10, supply chain leaders are now focused on resilience and agility. The old game of just chasing the lowest possible cost, it's over. A whole new era has started.
So if not just China, then where? Well, the search for a new anchor in this rewired world has led pretty much everyone to one place. We are literally watching the rise of a new manufacturing powerhouse in real time.
I mean, just look at the unbelievable speed of this shift. In just the first 5 months of 2025, India exported $4.4 billion worth of iPhones to the US. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that is more than it exported in all of 2024 combined. This isn't some gradual trend, folks. This is an explosion.
And this isn't just about one company setting up shop. What's truly amazing here is that an entire ecosystem is being built from the ground up with huge investments from every single part of the chain. You've got Apple's biggest partner, Foxconn, pouring in billions. You have a homegrown champion, India's Tata Group, stepping out to become an assembler themselves. And then you have these crucial component makers, like Japan's TDK, building key parts like battery cells right there. It's a massive, coordinated effort.
But look, this rewiring thing is about so much more than just moving factories around. It's about building a whole new kind of supply chain, one that isn't just spread out geographically, but is also way more sustainable and frankly more invested in its people.
So you might be asking, why does a company like Apple care so much about how its suppliers operate? Well, this chart tells you everything you need to know. A massive 65% of Apple's total carbon footprint comes directly from its manufacturing supply chain. So if they want to hit their big climate goals, they don't really have a choice. They have to bring their suppliers along for the ride to renewable energy.
And this is what that actually looks like on the ground. This isn't some corporate memo. It's about investing in the real infrastructure and the skilled people you need to run it, like this hydroelectric facility. It's all part of this global push to power production with clean energy.
And the investment in people is just as critical. Since 2008, get this, over 7 million supplier employees have taken part in education and professional development programs. They're learning everything from advanced robotics to coding in Apple's own language, Swift. This is how you actually replicate and maybe even improve on that original Apple model in new places.
And this idea of resilience, it goes way beyond the factory walls. Take the Philippines, a region that's really vulnerable to climate change. Apple is partnering there with the International Organization for Migration to build typhoon-resilient shelters. It's a simple idea, right? A resilient supply chain has to support the communities where its employees actually live.
Okay, so let's zoom out and look at the new map. The end of the old China-centric model doesn't mean globalization is dead. Not at all. It just means we're entering a more complex, more distributed, and frankly, a multipolar manufacturing world.
Here's the change in a nutshell. We are moving away from a model that was built on a single point of failure, one that prioritized cost above everything else. And we're moving to a new model built on multiple hubs. This new system is designed from the ground up to be resilient, balancing cost with the agility you need to survive in a much more unpredictable world. And this new map has really clear regional roles emerging. You've got India becoming the new anchor for high-volume tech exports simply because of its scale. You've got Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam and Thailand acting as complementary assembly hubs. Mexico is absolutely booming as a nearshoring hub, perfectly located for the American market, and Japan, with its incredible expertise, is a key partner for the really advanced stuff.
And this diversification, it goes all the way down to the very heart of the technology. The brain of your next phone, the processor, is also part of this story. Apple's main partner, TSMC, is already producing these impossibly small 2-nanometer chips. That's the next frontier in processing power, and it's all part of this diversifying global strategy.
So, look, building a more resilient, more diverse, and more sustainable global supply chain, it's without a doubt a smart move in a crazy world. But it's also way more complex, and yeah, potentially more expensive. And that leaves us with the big question, the one that affects all of us. What is this great rewiring going to mean for the price we pay for the technology we literally can't live without?